The Trump administration says it has reunited 364 children, ages 5 and older, with their families after they were separated at the border. There are still hundreds of children to go before a court-imposed deadline of July 26th. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops is one of the groups taking the lead on helping families that have been released into the U.S. Joining us now is Theresa Cardinal Brown, Director of Immigration and Cross-Border Policy at the Bipartisan Policy Center. Theresa, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Once these children are reunited with their parents, what happens to them?
Well, it kind of depends on where the parents are in their removal process. So if they, for example, are already been ordered removed or getting ready to be deported, they have a choice about whether or not their child would be deported with them or the child can remain in the United States and pursue their own claims. The lawsuit that's going on right now over the separation of children, the plaintiffs have asked the court to hold off on those deportations to allow those parents to make an informed decision, because that's a big choice. They may be reunited, but it may be temporary. If the parents are pursuing their own asylum claim in the United States, the family may be released together into the United States under some sort of supervision by Immigration and Customs Enforcement until their hearing.
Your think tank recently conducted a survey on Americans' views on immigration, found 65% believe the U.S. immigration system is broken, and 69% support a path to legal status for immigrants who are here illegally. Why do you think Congress isn't acting, and what should be in a bill, in your view?
Well, I think a lot of members of Congress are sort of looking at the extremes of what can be done on immigration. Either it's all enforcement or complete amnesty. And what we found in our survey is Americans want a combination of both. They want a middle ground, and they want Congress to find that middle ground. So I think one of the things we have to look at with our legislators is how can we encourage them to find that middle ground and to not, for example, defeat a bill that doesn't meet everything they want if there's a lot of middle ground in it.
Another topic here when it comes to difference between Republicans and Democrats is whether they're going to have a bill that effectively either supports or goes against ICE, which is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. So obviously the Republicans have passed a sort of symbolic bill in support of it, but the Democrats seem to want to abolish ICE. Can that, again, aside from whether or not you support or not support ICE, do you think they can realistically abolish it?
I think that right now that's hashtag, it's a hashtag, it's not a real policy.
Okay.
And I think that there have been some on the left, particularly immigration advocates on the far left, that have been using this as a rallying cry, a protest point, if you will, against the Trump administration's enforcement policies. But as a real, sort of legislative priority, I think Democrats are wrestling with what does it mean? Does it really mean conduct more oversight? Does it really mean try to reconfigure how the agency does its job? I think the idea of actually abolishing ICE probably has limited appeal. But Republicans, if you will, I think see an avenue to create a wedge for the midterms, and I think one of the reasons we had the symbolic vote yesterday, this week, was about that.
Mm-hmm. Your survey also shows Americans want action, but Congress may obviously not come up with a solution for immigration, not likely before the midterms. How do you think voters will respond to that? How big of an issue is this going to be?
Well, it's interesting. Immigration, not from our polls, but more recent polling has showed, has become a bigger issue for voters of late. They are saying that it is one of the more important issues that Congress should tackle. We have to remain to be seen how that impacts the individual votes in individual districts. Whether or not most Americans see immigration as the #1 priority that Congress must tackle or not, individual races are run in individual districts, and it's usually the issues that those voters care about most that determines who gets reelected. That having been said, I think there is a growing feeling that Congress is not doing anything on a lot of issues, immigration being one of them. Right. And so hopefully we might see some election of people who are willing to sort of make those deals happen and get some legislation passed.
Okay, we'll be watching to see what happens. Theresa Cardinal Brown, Director of Immigration and Cross-Border Policy at the Bipartisan Policy Center. Thanks so much.
Thank you.